Ade twamu na ye na otwemienu pepepe yenua Pooley enya ne baby akoye. Na enne ne ho nsem ekukopiem Ghana Parliament House. Na enne ensem ne ho nsem kopie Parliament House no. MP ye friend Mr. Dixon Chiredua aka Stuttgart MP for Brekum West. Sorry edensem etuda. Na MP ekasa no na MP chirim se o se edim enhyehyeye egu akwam se de beya agoprama so ntokwa ene watimi wakame na da bia ekoso na ye bu nkrofo na ye pra nkrofo no o se omohwe na de measures egu ho edin enoma egu akwam ansa na ombebo football na omabo football no mientie MP anonsem emra na ansa na bitie MP anonsem adaroma on subscribe channel ya no subscribe channel e de amame channel e official RNF TV abusia subscribe channel na share video yi ama unyamu enso ensa enkabi mienti MP anonsembra.
And the National Sports Authority to put in place stringent measures and security and safety measures to prevent such occurrences in future. These include enhanced security at stadiums, strict enforcement of disciplinary actions against violent conduct, and also intensified public education on sportsmanship. Mr. Speaker, in our beautiful game of football, there are only 3 results. Either you win, you lose, or you draw. A good sportsman will accept whatever result that comes their way. Honorable Speaker, at this grieving moment, permit me to extend my heartfelt and deepest condolences to the family of the deceased. No family should endure such a pain of a football match. I also call on all stakeholders to remain calm as the Ghana Police Service continue with their investigations to get to the bottom of the matter. Violence has no place in our football. It has no place in Ghanaian society. Let us all stand together to condemn this act and work together to ensure that our football stadia are safe. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Ghana Football Association.
Mr. Dixon Chiredua ena yakote yate nenkano. Wa manansi wa okoso sa chire mu se ensem wi enya afi na ebi babisi ebi asisi bebre still na omonhwe na omonka ho asem ema wode nkrofo bobo nkrofo bi din kire kwan ya de nkrofo afaso e wo stadium so ahoduo mu enti no okoso chire mu se also omoma measures a opeso mu di go akwan mu no also omhwe no omhyem kina na omyiri mu se de be ya ema sa anoma na ekoso wo stadium so ahoduo mu no enkoso. Mr. Jackson Chiredua
left dumbfounded when one of its topmost female referees, Teresa Bremensu, who was officiating in the 2019 Women Special Competition between prisons and ampong ladies, was beaten to pulp by the fans for what they claimed she failing to add extra time after the 90 minutes elapsed. Again in 2020, Mr. Speaker, we are aware of a Kotoko fan, Augustine Opon, who was shot in the eye when violence broke in the game against Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Brekum Chelsea. Also, just 2 years ago, my very good friend Edwin Aka, the general manager of Samates FC, and other officials and players of Samates FC were brutally assaulted in a Division 1 league match in Daboase in the game against Kyei FC. Honorable Speaker, despite all the education, reminders, sensitizations, sanctions aimed at eradicating hooliganism, the act continues to be part of Ghanaian game with many casualties frequently recorded. Mr. Speaker, the situation calls for urgent action from all stakeholders. We as parliamentarians have roles to play. Government, football officials, security agencies, clubs, and supporters, there is an urgent need for us to work collectively to eradicate such barbaric acts from our game. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy to note that our new indefatigable Sports and Recreation Minister, Honorable Kofi Adams, has already swung into action. In his first day in office, he met the officials of the Football Federation to fashion out a plan to prevent future occurrences of such barbaric incidents in our stadia. I'm very confident with Honorable Kofi Adams, this canker will be dealt with once and for all. Mr. Speaker, I'm also aware of the high-profile meeting between the Inspector General of Police and the stakeholders of our game, which produced 33 action points for implementation to curb.
Honorable Dixon Chiredua Ninsema or the two Danano. Now, Honorable Samuel Kunsoso, sorry. Now, O Chirim say, Ghana dear, and your man, and I, Yaniji Hompa, a football, tennis, religion, and politics. Na nini na muno football pa na nipa anije ho enso so no enam referee so mo Ghana said dom si du referee nti da bia na mpinchen ko referee fo no enye referee fo a omu du referee ni ye enu nti no da bia no na ma mpinchen ekoso e wo stadium so ahoduo mu etimu nti Honorable Sami Awuku
to contribute to the statement made by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Bekum West. Mr. Speaker, let me also, first of all, extend deepest condolences to the bereaved family and to the deceased. So, Speaker, there are 4 things that excite passion and inflames passion within our society. These 4 things for me: 1, football; 2, religion; 3, ethnic issues; and also 4, political issues. What is before us today is association football. Right, Honorable Speaker, in contributing to the statement made by the Honorable colleague Member of Parliament, I would also like us to also situate the matter. You cannot separate these acts of vandalism, hooliganism, and riotous behavior of fans also from sometimes poor officiating. If we cast our mind back to many of the issues around the world, anytime you have these huge disagreements among fans, at the heart of it has been a refereeing decision one way or the other. I would like us to also get the Referees Association of Ghana and the Football Administration to also pay keen attention to sometimes bad officiating or questionable officiating. I'm saying this because in today's football world, it's no longer what it used to be under the good days of obofour, the golden boy Abdul Razak and co, where football was played just to excite people or to entertain people. This time around, it's become a very commercial venture. And people get into these stands knowing very well and working out the odds on what they intend to achieve at the end of the day. I believe these acts of hooliganism are despicable, and it is about time that we don't just pay lip service to these matters when they are raised, but also get the law enforcement agencies to also enforce the laws. One of the main issues that for me continue to also agitate my mind has to do with the issue of citing drinking sports and beer bars around these stadia and sports facilities. One, you cannot enter the stadium with alcohol, but the people just take it before entering. So they enter, and by the time that they reach that peak, that is when the match is also at this height. So one, we also have to be clear on the modalities and the guidelines and what we can also have around the various sporting facilities. Today we have a colleague down that I'm an unrepentant fan of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But I also believe that in helping protect lives within the various precincts of our sports facilities, we have to look at the very things that are cited around.
We honorable Samuel Uku anu asem ena ikotie no. Na honorable Samuel Uku amananso a osan kire mu se ena ba ya bie no stadiums ahodo enchen no. Enam so emankrofo ekọ stadium a omtimi twa bi na omde ko stadium. Teno no sa no okọ no ya ade kra na patana no aye tan wotwe no kra entwe. Enti no osan kasa de fa security ahodo a omo stadiums no. Enti no obo oka ba ho asem na osan kan securities ahodo a omo stadium ho asem. Mumientie se de osifa ka efa basia ba ya biebie no sport ahodo a ya biebie no stadium nchen no ensema no so okan fa.
Sometimes some of these drinking bars is also a disturbance. Number 2 has to do with also enhanced security within the stadium. In the various stands, apart from having people who are wearing security badges and uniforms, you can also have plainclothes security. And that is what many of these countries are using within their stadium. So, Mr. Speaker, football is the passion of the nation. Wherever you even have small teams playing within our communities, you can see that tension is always high. How much more when it has to do with league standings and the position of these teams on the various league table. So whilst I commend my colleague, I would like, Mr. Speaker, with your kind direction, get the sports minister to also pay keen attention, one, to the issue of security, issues of officiating and refereeing, and third issue has to do with the siting of these drinking bars around the various states. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Samuel Uku ena yatie nka ewone okọ parliament ensema odi tuja efa Ghana football ehono. Na honorable Millicent Yeboah Amankwa MP Sunan West ono ene betu ignatius bafo free swatre akonwa no so a sese mami ene ye MP ono so koso ede nsem ni bi atudwa efa Pooley'S a owu ewo swatre no.
Of the unfortunate situation that happened in Nsuatre with the match between the Kotoko and Nsuatre man. It happened in Nsuatre, which is my constituency. I would like to extend my condolence to the entire family of the deceased. Mr. Speaker, on this note, we need to be very much careful and put in better and proper measures when there is much like this, because we have different supporters with different views and excitement. People come out and communicate or express their excitement in a different way. And so, with this unfortunate situation happening in my constituency, which I believe it shouldn't happen in any constituency, the entire sports ministries and heads or owners and management of football clubs should take this serious and make sure that these things do not happen again. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I believe that we should have a risk assessment before any match takes place, because we need to make sure that the park or wherever they are having these football games are well kept. We have CCTV cameras in case of emergency. We have proper security personnel. Even in addition of these military personnel can be added to it. Mr. Speaker, I believe that if much concentration and monitorization is put in place and we monitor the situation well, I don't believe that these things would happen. When this issue happened in my constituency, it called a lot of emergency, because if you look at where the ambulance service is in Nsuatre, they went far. We couldn't even get an ambulance. And
Honorable Millicent Yeboah Amankwa ninsema odi tuja no. Osan koso a etire mu say medical aid no sanke bi wo stadium ono ma nanka ebeboa pa, because se ebi mpa anke ni bi wo hono ma kitimi suso ye nua be ma Pooley'S so kenya ni se ibianka oda hwa akiri womde kokoduru hospital na wawuo no na okoso akiri mu se ono ena eba be se Ignatius bafo awuah ana ewo Sunyani West hono na oye no colleague nti asema ato no eha me pa eha no na ebi betima to MP bia nti no we de o my Ignatius bafo awuah yako umientie Honorable Millicent yeboa amankwa nsema okande to aso ewo hono.
Rather unfortunate that my good brother, my father, the former MP for Sunyani West, and it's something we shouldn't really I was really worried because he's a senior colleague of mine, and I share with him at this particular situation, and I wish him well because it can happen to anybody. And I pray that if measures are kept well and put in place, all these matters will reduce. Mr. Speaker, I would come to the point of our medical aid. We need to make sure we have first aid in situations and places like this so that measures can be taken as early as possible. Because looking at the supporter of Kotoko, it means that if they had first aid available, we could have find a way to save him as early as possible. Again, Mr. Speaker, I would like to plead with the entire security and medical professionals, as I earlier on made, to have an emergency plan with a sports team in case there's such situation happens, so that we'll be able to help save lives and educate our fans in matters and how they should be jubilating when issues happen. And even the terrain that supporters need to, if they are ticketing that we're supposed to give to them, and monitor the number so they will not have a stampede at the park or the stadium. I think it will go a long way to help us. Thank you for the opportunity.
I was in the Parliament House in summer a course through honum and yade abrowing. I was on subscribe channel Adaroma no subscribe channel your official RNF TV. Busiano wa share video ama onye bi nso nsa aka bi na wa follow channel. Yada wa se muti official RNF TV. E chine be brown news back to back. Yada wa se nyame hyiram.